The newest season of Sons of Anarchy debuted on FX this past Tuesday, and I've been trying to catch up on it, but I'm a little behind. But anyway, the first episode of the season is getting a lot of criticism, mainly from a group called the Parents Television Council, which I'll get into in a second here, is getting criticism because it included a scene where a teenage boy takes a semi-automatic weapon into a high school and opens fire. I'll leave an article in the video description that describes what happened in more detail. Apparently, it was off camera, didn't show him, like, gunning down people physically, but it was just like implied shooting. But anyway, now, this has brought forth, as I said, criticism from a group called the Parents Television Council. It's a group of do-gooders, for lack of a better term, that are watching out for the content that you or I can consume out there, or our children, or just the youngsters in the country might just poison their minds with by watching. Anyway, they are proposing, they're using this opportunity to promote their platform, which I actually agree with. Now hold on for a second, let me explain here. They're pushing out their platform for cable companies to have some sort of a la carte system. Now you've heard me talk about this on my channel here before. What that means is cable companies, they want cable companies to offer an a la carte system in that you, the consumer or the purchaser of your cable television, will only pay for the channels you want. Therefore, if you see a channel like FX and you're like, oh, that content is too racy on FX, it's too violent, I don't want that in my household, but I have to buy it because I like the Home and Garden channel and it's in a package that's with that channel and I have no choice but to buy both of those channels. For people that are like that, they simply don't have to buy FX. They have nothing to complain about. If we have an a la carte system in place with all the cable companies and you complain about the channel's content, then why did you buy it? There would be no excuses left for people to complain that their son or daughter or themselves saw something that they didn't want because you do not have to purchase that channel. I don't know why a single cable company out there has not tried to do this, or if they have, it's been an abysmal failure because it's not caught on in America. It just makes so much sense to me, because like I've said before in a previous video, buy cable television. I buy it through Verizon Fios. I get a package for it's like $70 a month for 700 channels, and I can tell you in all honesty, no exaggeration, throughout the entire year, I might do more than 1 hour of committed watching on any single channel to 20 channels. 20 out of 700 channels. There's 5 different C-SPAN channels I don't care about, 5 different home shopping channels I don't care about, 10 different cooking channels, shit like that. They all just come part of the package that includes the other channels that I do want, those few channels that I do want. And I see it as wasteful. Cable companies see it as just a way to just hey, look, everyone has the ability to see these channels, so keep making content and we'll keep buying your channel because 10 people in the Midwest somewhere watch it. No offense, Midwest. I don't know why I randomly picked that. I used to live in the Midwest, so I'm picking on myself as well. Anyway, this is something that, again, I don't know why a single cable company hasn't tried to do this. Just make it something like $1 per channel. If it was like that, $1 per channel per month, and it cost me $20 for 20 basic cable channels I want. Now I understand if HBO wants to be at a premium cost, Showtime, etc., they can keep their rates the same. They can a la carte us those channels, the Showtimes, the HBO, the Stars, stuff like that. But for the basic cable channels, it's always these ridiculous multi-hundred channel packages, of which I'd love to see who the person is out there that's consuming all this content. It's impossible. First of all, there's just not enough time. I don't even care if you're jobless for years on end and don't sleep. You're not going to consume the content on these channels. Anyway. And above all else, what the Sons of Anarchy, and this is kind of the second part of the video I want to get on, is Sons of Anarchy shouldn't have to put up with this criticism as far as I'm concerned. When people are too sensitive about a topic like this, it's not Sons of Anarchy's job, the creators of it, to sit down and say, is something we're going to do here going to be too sensitive? Now, I understand. If it's something that is you know, way beyond the means of, you know, acceptable behavior. Like, they shouldn't, like, you know, simulate children fucking dogs or something like that. Like, yeah, there is lines that can be drawn. But when it's something where it's just violence in society, violence that happens, where it's just art imitating life, then I really don't see why Sons of Anarchy should have to be the picky one and say, well, we wanted to do an angle where, or storyline where a kid shoots up, you know, people to school or whatever, but we can't because it's too sensitive. I mean, what's next? And it just baffles me that arbitrarily this is always decided in society. Because you could have something like Jaws or shark movies and there's a Sharknado and stuff like that. It's like, why is no one offended by that? There's so many people that are traumatized when they're on a beach when someone is physically either attacked by a shark, killed by a shark, or even just a shark is spotted on the beach. That is a very traumatic thing to be at a beach and see that happen. Do we care? Why don't we care about their feelings? I mean, there's shark movies out everywhere that basically glamorize, for lack of a better term, shark attacks. I mean, you could say even there's probably, and someone could look this up for me, there's probably more people, more teenagers that die drowning to death in their parents' or their neighbor's swimming pool every year. I mean, I hear about them, just, you know, you don't hear about them all the time, but in the summertime, you'll randomly hear that, you know, this parent's kid went in their swimming pool, they turned their back for a second, the kid drowned to death. So it's like, oh, we can't do anything about drowning on television. Because there's so many people that are affected by the drowning deaths of people in their communities. It's like we don't draw a line on something like that either. Anyways, you get my point, and it's always such a new dog! Thank you. Always when I'm making the series videos, he decides to pick up a squeaker toy. Come here, new dog! Thank you. I stole from Goblin. I'm sorry. I know, I'm such a mean owner. But anyway, it's always such an arbitrary process of what we pick to offend, what we pick in what the media picks, or what the cable company, television shows, etc. pick to not do or do that they feel is offensive or not. And it's like, we can't have school shootings because that's too sensitive, but we can have the silly shark shooting out of tornadoes eating people. Even though that is a traumatic experience to numerous people on the beaches of America every single year, or just beaches around the world for that matter. Anyway, Parents Television Council, I'm all for you. I support, well, I'm not all for you completely. I'm all for your a la carte programming. I'm all for that. They keep pushing these cable companies to make a la carte systems. And I know the cable companies aren't for it because it decreases the scope of potential ratings for them. And that's the biggest thing that's going to keep that thing from happening. But again, if they adjust prices accordingly, make some channels a little bit more expensive than others, whatever the case may be. For someone like me who invests in 20 channels, if it's something like, I don't know, maybe they're all $2.99 a month, I'll invest in that because it would probably end up being cheaper than the 700 channel bundle package I have now. Anyway, Parents Television Council, push this a la carte system. I'm behind you on this movement. I'm not behind you on what you feel is your criticism of a show like the Sons of Anarchy, because they shouldn't have to be antiseptic with their measures. They should be able to make whatever they want as long as it's suitable for the airing of what's on cable television right now. And as far as I'm concerned, Parents Television Council, it's not up for you to decide that. That's for the ratings administration to figure that out. Anyway, just something for you guys to think about here today, and I just really got to start catching up on Sons of Anarchy. I just fell out of that show and never fell back in, but it's not that I hated it. Anyways, have a great day, everyone.